So hello gamers, Phantom Forces is one of those games that's very difficult to get into for the first time. So today I'm going to be showing you basically the ultimate beginner's guide, everything you need to know as a beginner to this game and how to actually just do better and figure out how to just do stuff at the beginning of the game. So the very first thing I would recommend you do is go into your settings and change a few of these settings because default settings are not very good. The main thing you're going to be wanting to change is probably field of view. I keep mine on 105, but the default is 80, which is pretty low. You're going to want to turn that up a little bit, not all the way to 120. You don't have to do that, but just play around with it a little bit. You can press space to spawn in and just like check out your FOV. That's very helpful. In display settings, you can change out a lot of these things. The two main ones I do recommend you turn off is ROBLOX particles and shaders. These kind of look cool at times, however they are massive to your performance. Also turn off day cycle, and keep in mind you need to turn off day cycle during the day, so it's always day. If you turn it off during the night, it'll always be night, which is kind of not a very good thing. So yeah, that's the three things that I would recommend you turn off. You can also turn off spawn ragdolls. That means that when you kill a guy, it won't show a ragdoll. Bullet holes and stuff like that, you can turn those off if you want to, but the main three are ROBLOX particles, shaders, and day cycle. In advance, you don't have to turn any of this off, and that's basically how settings work. Make sure sprint acts as a toggle is turned off. You don't want that. Now, if you look at your starter guns, usually you start out with the AK-12. You can use the AK-12 if you want to. It's not bad. However, I do recommend the carbine known as the M4A1 as your starter gun. This is just really good, and as you progress, you will get more and more guns. And as a secondary, I do recommend Glock 17 at first over M9, and then move on to like the 1911, the L5, and the MP412 Rex. Those are all really good starter guns. However, the two guns I do recommend at the very beginning of the game are the M4A1 and the Glock 17. You can also use the ASG-12 after you get about 1000 XP, which will be like, you know, 4 or 5 kills really. Once you spawn in for your first time, you can move using WASD. Very simple. Crouch is press C, and if you press C a second time, you will go prone, and if you sprint and press C one time, you will just do a slide. That can help you to get around and stuff. Obviously, there's more complicated stuff like M sliding, which I am currently doing. That increases your speed by quite a bit, but you probably won't be able to do that. I do have a guide on how to do it, but it's a little bit more complicated than most of the stuff in this game. The gun has alt aim. You can press T to access that, so you can just press T to go back and forth. Not every gun has alt aim. For example, the M4A1 doesn't have that. Press right click to aim in and left click to shoot, basically. And if you're on a trackpad, press Q to aim in, but you can also use Q to aim in on a mouse and keyboard, but I do recommend you use right click instead. And R is to reload, and also you can have an extra bullet in your gun. If you shoot your entire magazine out, you will do a extra long reload, and you can reload a second time to get your +1 bullet in there. In most of your guns, you can reload when you spawn in and get an extra bullet. Not a very big thing, but like it's kind of helpful to have that, so I do recommend you just like reload immediately when you spawn in. The next thing I wanted to talk about is attachments, because when you first start off, you don't really have that many attachments, and as you get more and more kills on a gun, you will get more and more attachments. As you can see, if you put on like this carry handle sight, it'll change the irons a little bit, but the first sight you get a Z point, and I do recommend you use Z point or maybe EOTech XPS2. I do have like grips guides, barrel guides, and optic guides, aka scope or sight guides. I'll have those in the top right or linked in the description, or you can just find them by looking them up on my channel. But keep in mind that a lot of these early game sights aren't that good. I do recommend Z point and Delta as your two main like starter sights, and as you get farther into the game, you can get sights like the Reflex sight, the Coyote sight, and some of the really good ones. To start, I do recommend you use Z point and then go to Delta, and then keep in mind that suppressors in this game are generally really bad. Same with flash hider, and compensator is the first barrel you want to use. You do not want to use a suppressor even early on because there is no reason to use it. It just makes your gun do really bad damage, so don't use it. So compensator. Vertical grip actually increases recoil in this game, so as a beginner, I do not recommend you use the vertical grip. The first grip I recommend is the angled grip, followed by potato, and then folding or stubby when you get a lot of kills on a gun. I use stubby grip on my guns, and then for other attachments, just use like a flashlight, laser, or anything else you want. Most of the time, it doesn't really matter what you have here, unless it's a full stock, and then use it because full stocks are very good in this game. They reduce recoil. And then for ammo types, I don't recommend you really use these too much. I do have best setup videos on most of the early ranked guns. And for secondaries, you only have 4 attachment slots. Delta sight is definitely the best in terms of optic because the other optics go actually like halfway on your gun versus the Delta, which stays on the back. The same will happen with the Mini, but the Mini is a little bit more obstructive because the reticle is kind of bigger and like the bars on the side of the scope are a little bit bigger. So I don't really recommend the Mini sight in my opinion. For barrels, on most guns, a long barrel is going to be really good, but on pistols, muzzle brake is generally better than compensator, so just keep that in mind. But on most automatic guns, it's probably better to use compensator in most cases, and for other attachments, just a laser or stock if you have one. And for ammo, I wouldn't really recommend playing around with ammo too much as a beginner, but you can watch like Glock 17 best setup and other best setups for early game guns, even secondaries on my channel. And for melee, you only have a knife, just use the normal knife, it's not a big deal. You do unlock more and more melee. The way that you do that is you will get cases over time, and you can also buy them. them. And when you have a case and a key, you can open the case. I do have a full guide on how to get melees in this game very fast, so if you want to see that, maybe linked in the description, but it's just called How to Get Melees Very Easily in Phantom Forces. Now let's end this off with some general advice. First off, obviously you can press space to spawn in, and you can squad deploy on teammates. There's a squad deploy menu in the top left of your screen when you are not spawned in. Again, reloading when you have rounds left in your gun will give you a +1, aka an extra bullet, and that could save you in some scenarios. Another thing is pressing V will change the firing mode, so now I'm on semi-auto and I will only shoot one time. Keep in mind that most guns are not going to need to change the firing mode, but just that is the thing. Some guns have a burst mode. Sprint and press C to crouch, obviously, and also if you press X you will dolphin dive, and if you jump and sprint and press X you will dolphin dive very, very far. It's called a super jump, and you do that. And if you right click while doing that, then you will actually be able to cancel it. All you got to do is sprint and then jump and press X. That's it. And then right click if you want to cancel it and be able to keep running like that. Now later in the game you will be able to vote kick players out. As a low rank you currently can't do this because of vote kick abuse. However, to vote kick you just do /vote kick : their name : the reason you're vote kicking people. This won't be a problem at the moment, but you do /vote kick : person's name, so Joe : reason, so aimbot or something like that. You only get this at rank 25, and do not abuse this because you can get in serious trouble for this. This is only for if there's a hacker in the game or something like that. If somebody is just doing well or using a gun you don't like, do not vote kick them. Only vote kick them if they're actually exploiting or cheating. Another thing is basically the starter snipers and DMRs are kind of difficult to use. The intervention is about to be nerfed, but is very, very good if you're good with snipers. And the Mark 11 is very difficult to use because if you click it too fast, you won't shoot very fast. So just keep that in mind. I don't recommend use like intervention or Mark 11 as like a very new player to any games, including like FPS games, especially FPS games. Like if you've never played an FPS game, do not use like a sniper rifle to start. It's very difficult compared to like a shotgun or something else. Same with the DMR. A DMR might even be harder to use than a sniper in some cases. Also remember, no suppressors, no vertical grip, and just use like Z point and use compensator on most guns. But like I said, I do have like barrel guides and stuff, and if you want to see those and get a little bit more in-depth stuff, then you can find those on my channel. If you are going to be using a sniper rifle, do keep in mind that a sniper rifle can one-shot to the body a lot of the time depending on the sniper, but if you use a suppressor it can no longer one-shot to the body, so make sure to not use the suppressor on the intervention and basically any sniper in general. I'm using a barrel attachment called the muffler, which does not reduce damage, and like I said, you can find that in my barrel guide. But something to note about the sniper rifles in this game is that they do kill to the body but not to the limbs, which means if you hit a guy in the leg or the arm it will not kill them. However, if you hit them in the center of mass, aka the torso, the big box in the center, it will one-shot them to the body. So make sure to hit that, and if you can't hit those and you can't hit headshots, probably not the best that you start with a sniper rifle. I do recommend you use other types of guns until you can get better with like the guns that are really, really good but take more skill, you know? Also, most sniper rifles cannot body shot all ranges, but basically, I think every single one in the entire game, except for the Dragunov SVU, can one-shot headshot at any range, which means if you hit your headshots and you're pretty good at hitting heads, you will be able to one-tap at any range, which is really cool. And some of them one-shot body all ranges, but not the low-rank ones. Another thing, do not pre-buy the sniper rifle known as the BFG. People will not like you. It's also not very good. Just letting people know that, because people are going to be like, well, don't pre-buy the BFG. The BFG is basically this guy has it right here. Like, as you can see, he's only got one bullet. Basically, the BFG is like this big 50 cal sniper that only has one bullet, but it does one shot to the torso at any range. However, like any other sniper is better actually. So just thought I'd let you know that if you're a low rank, just go for like M4A1, maybe use intervention if you're able to. Keep in mind that most sniper rifles will have to leave the scope to be able to bolt the gun and fire again. However, some are semi-auto, and some of them, if you put on the straight pull bolt attachment, you actually don't have to aim out every time you want to shoot. Let's also talk about grenades and melees. Basically, grenades go for 5 seconds. Every single second that they're out, they will do like a little notch thing. As you can see, like your crosshair gets a little bit bigger, and after 4 of those, on the 5th one it will explode. You only have 3 of them, and they have a radius of about 30 studs. However, they do drop damage over time, so keep in mind that they won't one shot you at 30 studs away, but they will do damage up to 30 studs away. And finally, melees. All melees have like about the same attacks. However, some of them do more damage, some of them attack faster, some of them like have more range, have more walk speed. The karambit is very simple. It's very close to the default knife. Basically, if you left click, you do your main attack, and if you right click, you do your alt attack, which is something else. And if you press F, you will be able to do like your alt attack whenever you want to and switch back to your gun. You can also press H to inspect your gun, but that's not like a big helpful thing or anything. It's just kind of cool that that's a feature in the game. Just a cool looking thing, you know? But yeah, I do recommend if you want to snipe, like the intervention is very good. Also, equipment does not actually exist. It will be a tab here, but like there's nothing there. Stats are pretty interesting. You probably won't need to know too much about stats as a beginner, but I do have a full advanced stats guide. However, you probably won't understand understand them as a beginner, like I said. If you want a full beginner stats guide, maybe I will make that. Let me know in the comments. This is the BFG. It's a tube gun. I do not recommend you pre-buy it. Most low ranks do, and I did, and like it does one-shot all ranges, which sounds pretty nice, but like the intervention just has, oh my gosh, wall bang that guy so hard. Keep in mind, you can shoot through walls with some guns. Some guns shoot through larger walls than others. For example, I don't think this will shoot through. No. However, this gun will shoot through it. As you can see, there's a bullet hole over here. Yeah, make sure to keep that in mind. You can shoot through walls with some guns. You can see that in advanced stats. It is the penetration stat. Most guns have like about 1, so less than 1 is pretty bad, and more than 1 is pretty good. The BFG, for example, has 10 because it's such a massive bullet. But anyways, gamers, I hope you guys enjoyed this beginner's guide. Hopefully this helped you out. Keep in mind the controls are basically just WASD, shift to sprint, space to jump, and space to spawn in. But you can also press deploy, but I do recommend just pressing space. It's a lot faster. But yeah, make sure to like and sub. I do have so many videos on my channel about this game. So if you're new to the game and you're like, hey, well, I don't know anything about the AKs, or like, what's a good assault rifle? What's the best gun in the game, or something like that? I have like videos on basically everything this game has to offer, and I'm making videos every single day. Subscribe if you're new. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.